That's
nice
a
big
good
mango.
one, man. That is a good dinner size. Yeah. That's not even a sandwich. That's full on. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Really good.
On the inshore side, sometimes we do so much catch and release with the tarpon and the sharks and all the bonefish permit, all these different things that we catch that we forget, you know, man, one of the coolest things to do is go catch your dinner.
Definitely a sandwich.
Eating good tonight.
Yeah, look
That's
at that.
A nice one, dude. Fat.
Kevin Van Dam on him.
Oh! Yeah! Come on! Oh! He ate it! He ate it! He ate it! Nice, baby! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about! I thought you said you had
got him, relax.
Oh! Dude, he just ripped my boat off! Oh! Awesome, look at that big boy! Woo!
The Hawks Cay Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, with Captain Tom Rowland and Captain Rich Tudor.
This water's just too muddy, I think. I'm not seeing any tarpon roll. I think we got some pilchards we caught this morning, so I say we take those and we go up and hit some of these islands and might catch some snappers.
Fine with that.
Big mangrove
That's what's
snappers.
so good about Plan B, having a boat like this. We got the bait, we got all kinds of different plans and things that we can do, not just one. So yeah, let's do it. Let's try.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
You might get something. I mean, tough conditions, but if you got tough conditions, you might as well have a live well full of pilchards. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe we can make something happen.
I wouldn't mind catching some snappers for dinner too.
Snappers for dinner.
We can bounce around all those islands out there. Should be some snappers on them, maybe a snook or a little tarpon or something. See what we can find. We had an interesting scenario. You know, it had been really calm and warm for a lot of days, south wind, the tarpon were biting good, and then all of a sudden, late cold front, late April, you know, here's this, next thing, we wake up in the morning, it's blowing 20 to 30 miles an hour out of the northwest, and, you know, just, that's not going to be good for the tarpon. There's no way. You know, we looked around a little bit. This just really wasn't an option. Good thing is that morning early, I'd gone and just have a safety plan. I went and loaded up with some pilchards. We'd made a big couple casts and had the well full with these pilchards. So that gave us a lot of options. And one of the things that I've just been doing a lot more of is just catching these big mangrove snappers around the trees. You know, it's nice because on those windy days, if we want some food for dinner, you know, going out to the reef or offshore is just really not an option at all, especially in a bay boat. But that bay boat allows us to get into those little moats around these islands. And the Florida Bay, you know, you leave from Hawks Cay here, the Florida Bay is just filled with islands back there. There's probably over 100 islands, and half of them have some sort of moat or some sort of structure underneath where there's, you know, going to be always mangrove snappers and lots of them, sometimes hundreds of them. There he is.
What do you got there?
Something pretty good.
Dang.
Dig him out.
Dang.
Big mangrove, I bet.
I didn't get a bite like that. That's
nice
a
big
good
mangrove.
one, man. That is a good dinner size. Yeah. That's not even a sandwich. That's full on. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's what I like. The pilchards are the key to that, man. Look how fat he is.
I got a bite from one about like that, but didn't close the deal.
Yeah. Well, this is good stuff, man.
This is my favorite snapper.
Usually you have to go out to the reef to catch mangroves that big out on the deep reef, but if you have the pilchards, there's a lot of big ones like this on these islands.
So what's so nice about the Florida Keys is the ability to go and get close to the mangroves, because the mangroves, man, I don't know, is there a better windbreak in nature? I don't know if there's a plant that blocks the wind better than the mangroves. It's actually amazing. It could be blowing 20, 30 miles an hour. You get behind those mangroves and it's almost like you would think it would be zipping through there, but somehow it seems to block the wind entirely, which is great because as much as we would like every day to be perfect, it's not. And some of the days it's actually really blowing. But what is just the best option ever, and what we used to do a lot of times with clients and customers that were afraid of getting seasick, is go straight back there and you're sitting in, I mean, you might as well be in an inland pond. There's no wave action. The mangroves block the wind perfectly. And then with the bay boat, what we've been able to do over the years is to really become far more versatile, because we have 3 50-gallon wells. We can put mullet in some, we can put shrimp and crabs in another, we can load up the other with pilchards. We don't know what's going to happen, but we've got all the bases covered, and that opens up so much opportunity.
There, ate it.
Good job.
Is it still on there?
Yeah. That was nice. Big snapper. Look at the size of that one. That's cool.
That is. He is blonde.
Come up chasing the free ones like that. That's fun, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a real good one. Yeah. It's no joke there. So I love that, especially on a windy day like today. You know, you can go offshore and catch yellowtail snappers or mangroves, but come in here, it's nice and calm.
I know. Nobody gets seasick.
You know,
Like I say though, I'd rather eat that one.
they're good.
Really would.
Real good. Good one?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a nice one. Look at the size of that big mangrove.
Bunch of big ones in there.
The Hawks Cay Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, is brought to you in part by Hawks Cay Resort, the only key you'll need. Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Yeti, built for the wild. And by Hook, Power Pole, St. Croix Rods, and Vibe.
It was a perfect day to do what we did. Ran back into the Everglades there, about 20, 30 minutes from Hawks Cay here, and just started exploring the islands. These are some of the islands I've fished before, some I hadn't been to in years.
Yeah.
And nowadays with Google Earth and the good Lowrance charts that we have, you know, you can see the little moats, you can see the channels. So in a bay boat, you can navigate all that shallow water without too much fear. You know, you got to take your time, and it's good to, you know, if you're learning it, go in the middle of the day when you can see the channels.
Yeah,
we ran in,
that helps.
But we ran into the to this first little island. You know, just got there, just started trolling, motoring down the shoreline, and as soon as we got down that shoreline, you could see that there was, you know, kind of a deep mode area there where it was at its deepest, and then as you went down the island, it got progressively shallower and shallower. It seems to me that the bigger fish, the biggest snappers and snook and tarpon or whatever that might be there, are in the shallower areas. So we got set up on that kind of that shallow point, and you know, there's not much water under there. You could see it was pretty shallow, but those mangrove snappers are tucked way up under the, I mean, right at the very base of the roots. That's a bite.
He's over the bush again. There he is.
Got him? Looks like a good one. Real good one.
That is definitely a sandwich.
Eating good tonight.
Yeah, look
That's
at that.
a nice one, dude. Fat.
Going Kevin Van Dam on him. Where are you putting these?
In the live well.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That was beautiful.
that's a stud.
They are where they are too. I mean, on a nice day, you could go down through there and you could see nothing, 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 maybe one or two, nothing, 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 and then all of a sudden there's this one little root ball that'll stick out a little further, and there are literally 400 right there. What it looked like on a lot of those is that the trees would kind of come out a little bit, offer shade underneath, offer a little washout where the current had made it a little bit deeper, and there is literally a ball of snappers like 3 times the size of this table, top to bottom, like a tornado just around there. And if the water is a little bit off color or whatever, it's not as obvious. It looks just like the rest of it, but go back there on a day when the water's super clear and you will be able to see the difference, that it's 2 feet deeper right there. And that's why they're all there.
Oh, big fish here. Come on out of there. There you go. Hey, that is nice. Not so big, he was just around a tree. But a nice one.
He's got his makeup on.
get a limit of these, have a pretty good meal, won't we?
Absolutely. All about that.
That's the rig right there, though. I like the little lead on there, especially with kids and stuff, because you can put it right in there and it sits, you know. It's still a little shallow here, so the unweighted one works pretty good. But then once we get into some of these spots that are a lot deeper. I love that little raccoon mask they have, camo around his eyes. It's kind of cool. Pull up to those islands, and one of the things that we were using that worked really good was chumming with the pilchers. You know, we had caught enough of them to where we could afford to throw a handful in there, and I knew the snappers were in there. It's a matter of getting those big ones to come out from way back in there and get excited enough to eat. And to throw a handful of pilchers in there, you know, some of them would come out and pop and swirl, and you know, you just knew, all right, now it's happening. And then you'll be able to skip that in there. We were both using about 15-pound braided line on that new St. Croix Legend Tournament rod, which was just perfect for what we were doing. Had enough backbone where we could, you know, really pull them out of there, but it had a nice flexible tip. You were skipping in there with no weight. You were just like skipping those pilchers way back into the deep recesses of the mangroves where the big boys lived. Sometimes you could get it in there after we chummed, and immediately, as soon as that thing hit the water, boom, a big one would grab it. And then really the battle was trying to get them out of the mangroves. Got him?
Yep.
Nice job. Good one?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a nice one. Look at
There's
the
a
size of that
whole
big
bunch
mangrove.
of big ones in there. Oh, you just spit up a bunch of stuff.
Whoa, that's a
Look at that
big
guy.
one, dude.
And he's spitting up all kinds of stuff. He's eating everything in there. All kinds of these fish. Look at that. There's got backbone, everything in there. I went down to a little smaller hook. I don't know if that's making any difference.
That's awesome. So, dude, that's about as big as any, you know, one you'd get out on the reef or something. That's close to a 5-pound fish, man. That's a big mangrove, man. Nice job. All right, so this is the rig we were using back there snapper fishing. Tom and I were using 2 different rigs, same kind of rods, an 8 to 17-pound rod. We both had 20-pound braided J-braid on there, and 20 or 30-pound fluorocarbon leader, just a short leader like that. But I had a weight on mine. See, I had this weight that would free slide down there. Super simple, just putting the weight on there and then tie the hook on with a uni knot. We were using hooks that are about a 3/0 circle hook there. Really just matching the size of the hook to the size of the pilcher is the key. But the weight, I like the weight because when I throw it back there, I can throw it back there in the deeper areas and let it sink straight down to the bottom. This weight's big enough to hold that pilcher down right on the bottom so he doesn't swim away from the mangroves. That's the key. Those big fish are back in the mangroves, so this weight would lay on the bottom, and then the pilcher kind of swims around on top freely, but he can't get too far away from the mangrove, so that was the key there. Now in the shallower water, Tom was using this same exact rig without the weight. This works great because you can skip it, so he's able to skip that right up on the water. So in those shallow spots, he can skip it across the top of the water, way up in the back of the mangrove roots, and then as soon as it hits the water, it's so shallow those fish can come up and eat it right away before the pilcher has time to swim out away from the mangroves. That's the key, is in the deeper water, you want the weight, throwing it back there, letting it sink to the bottom, far back as you can get it, or if it's in a shallower spot, skipping it way back there. So that's the techniques we were using. They really helped us catch those bigger snappers.
The trick to catching the big ones, I think, like what you were saying, is catch the bigger pilchards. Because, you know, a snapper that's like this, it might take a swipe at that, but it's not going to eat that. What you don't realize, if that's all you're fishing with, are the little shrimp and the small hooks and stuff like that, is that there's snappers like this down underneath.
That's exactly right. Is for years I'd fished some of these mangrove islands and I never caught a big snapper. I didn't even think they were there. I was like, it's nothing but little ones. But those big giant ones, they're usually way back, And if you throw a big old pilcher in there, or even just a big chunk, if you don't have live bait, you can cut a nice chunk of ballyhoo or mullet or whatever you might have, to where the little ones are actually picking at it and maybe running it, you know, and it's going crazy.
Your rod tip's looking like this.
Yes, and a lot of people just jerk it out there. But the mistake is that then a big one will end up coming out from way back, and you know, let all the little guys kind of mess around with it.
You guys can't eat that? I got it.
Boom. Oh man, he got me in something. Come on. I gotta dig him out. Oh, come on, he's under something. Come on.
Taking us in there.
You got around that mangrove. Dang it.
Sometimes you just let them swim around a little bit and they come right out of there. Oh, there he is. You're good, you're good.
I'm around something. There's a rope there. Look at him right on the surface there. See that rope?
Yeah.
We gotta pull up there and get it.
I don't have the remote. You might just come right off.
There's an old lobster line.
Oh, there's another one back in there. Oh, too tight a line. But he took my bait.
Oh, there he comes. He came free.
That is a whopper, especially with the weeds on him.
Look at this. We got salad and meat. Dude, talk about some big mangrove snapper.
Tell you what, I think that's the biggest one yet.
Wow. You know, this is how you measure when they're big. If I can't get I can barely get my hand around them.
See how that little fin right there
has
a chance to go right in your thumb? That's why I quit holding those big ones like that. Exactly why.
Wow, that's a nice one. That is a nice one. Dude, these new rods are perfect for this too. That is awesome. Very, very cool.
Dinner time.
We're eating tonight.
That's right.
Towing our boats all around the Keys and all around the U.S., we've had some ups and downs over the years, had problems with trailers, had different things, until we got to use these Ameritrail trailers. They are really incredibly well made, and we're towing around our most expensive toy. Wherever it is, we don't want to have problems with it. We don't want to have a breakdown, anything like that. Ameritrail's made a great trailer. They upgraded what was great this year and made it even better. The entire frame now is made with this soft rolled edge, has a great new look to it. Instead of looking like an I-beam, it just has a smooth look to it, really nice. They made some great improvements on the safety, which the axle now has sealed ball bearings, which are guaranteed for up to 5 years maintenance free. It also has an ability for you to unscrew that and check it if you want to, but it's guaranteed to be maintenance free for 5 years, so that's a really great feature. It comes with stainless steel lug nuts, which that's a big improvement considering going into the salt water. If it's not stainless steel, they're gonna rust. So now over time, you don't have to worry about any of your lug nuts rusting. You can get your tire on and off if you need to. The next big improvement is the roller here. This is where the boat is always hitting, and you know, got this nice new boat. You don't want it to get scratched up. They put on the highest quality roller, these Stoltz rollers, and they're soft and they won't deteriorate over time, so your boat will not get scratched up when it's connected to the trailer. So invest in a great trailer, get a Ameritrail to tow around your most expensive toy.
The Hawks Case Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, is brought to you in part by Yellowfin, only in a Yellowfin. Mercury Marine, go boldly. Motor Guide. And by Daiwa, Ameritrail, Nikon, B&W Trailer Hitches, and Florida Marine Tracks.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the show. You know, we'd like to get to know you better, carry on the conversation, and the best way to do that is follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
There he is.
Got something big.
Got him.
There's a tree.
Nice snap.
Now it is a snapper.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good work.
Yeah, man.
That ought to do it.
Awesome day. That's awesome, dude.
That ought to do it. That'll be
I think that's our limit.
just enough for dinner. That's our limit and enough for dinner.
That's pretty good snapper fishing, man. All nice quality size.
Yeah, I'd say.
it is interesting with catching fish to eat. On the inshore side, sometimes we do so much catch and release with the tarpon and the sharks and all the bonefish permit, all these different things that we catch that we forget. Man, one of the coolest things to do is go catch your dinner.
Yeah.
And one of the most basic things about fishing, and it's from my dad, he loves to do that. That's what we grew up doing, mostly offshore. Catching snappers and dolphin and things and eating it. So he's a true meat fisher. My kids love it. I love it. And on the inshore side, really, those snappers, catching those big snappers, that is the best option.
Absolutely.
I let all my snook go. I let all my redfish go. So really, when I want to catch some food, going and catch those big mangroves in the backcountry, that's an awesome way to catch your dinner.
Yeah, that's the go-to, because that's the food fish for the inshore fishermen. And it turns out I like it even better. I mean, yellowtail snapper is amazing, mutton snapper is an amazing fish, grouper is an amazing fish, but the gray snapper, man, it's right there, food quality level, as anything you're going to find offshore. And it's available to somebody that has a john boat, a paddle board, a bridge fisherman, on foot. It's available. That's like the bluegill of the ocean. That's the one that is available to everyone all over, and you can catch those snappers like that and bring them back. Right here is a perfect place, right here, the Angler and Ale, right here at Hawks Cay. That's a great thing to do, but that is one of the most available fish, and it happens to be one of the best eating.
It's a perfect plan, and today's the day. Offshore reef, anything can just be miserable. I mean, it's blowing 20 plus, but behind these mangrove islands, it's just gorgeous.
Yep.
It's a great day, man.
The mangroves have saved many a day, and they did again today.